today I'm just hitting up expired listings. I have a list of like 1,000 expired listings that expired in the past, I don't know, like uh, 30 to 60 days. So basically, I just call them up and then I try to find the ones that have a conversation with me, and then I see if I could just follow up with them. I put them into my CRM and then I follow up. Now you're thinking, oh, cold calling's dead. Cold calling doesn't work. Well, let me tell you what, Buster. I talked to this lady last week, and I talked to her on like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and she had to cut the conversation very brief. She had to say something like, oh, my dog's doing something, I gotta go. And I said, well, how about I just give you a call back like tomorrow or the next day? And she said, sure. So I always give them permission for me to call them back, even though I know I don't need it. So I just say, well, would it be okay if I just called you back tomorrow? And they would say, sure. And most of the time, I'm sure realtors even say that. They don't even do it because they just get kind of, sidetracked and whatnot. So I called her the next day and I said, hey, what if we, blah, blah, blah. I asked her a bunch of questions about her property and her situation. I had to find the motivation. So they have to move. They're old and there's a lot of steps in the house. So I had to find the motivation. And I found the motivation that they're old. They want to downgrade. The house is just a little too much for them. I said, perfect. So I went over, we talked, we toured the house, we sat down, signed the paperwork. New listing, $695,000 listing coming up here in 2 weeks on July 2nd. So I'm going to list it. It's already ready to go, by the way. Thanks to AI, I can just do it in a minute. But the point is that I looked at my numbers and I make about an hour and a half to 2 hours of calls a day. And then the number, like say I sell the house, even though it's not sold yet, say I sell the house, the hourly pay for the whole month of this month, or just for 40 hours, say it's like 30 hours of calling, and then let's say 10 hours of actually getting the home sold. And in 40 hours, I'm going to be making like $450 an hour. So if you just consistently cold call, if you're a realtor or in sales, and you cold call, collect the leads, follow up, ask for permission, be assertive, say, hey, let's meet, sign this, sign here, then you will start to get leads and listings, and then you will start getting commission checks. So that's kind of what I'm doing then. And then I'm kind of dressed in my gym clothes because today I will be helping a friend of mine with one of his listings. He's a contractor, and we're going to be insulating the roof at one of his properties he has under contract. This is a separate entity totally, but he told me he'd give me like $250. I said sure. I could do cold calls now and then later on in the day, and help him out because he's a good business associate. He's a good friend of mine, and I don't want to leave him hanging because do I want to time block and sit here and make calls? I do, but sometimes I call at like 2 to 4 instead of my 9:30 to 11 or 12. I'll call like 2 to 4 and I'll have a better pickup rate, and then I can even just follow up with people in my database. So I can do both. Now, as long as you are just doing the actions of cold calling or door knocking and following up, it really doesn't matter what time of day you do it. Some days I'll call from like 9:30 to 11:30, 12 and talk to like 3 or 4 people. But some days I'll call from like 2 to 4 and talk to like 14 people. So it really doesn't matter when you do it. As long as you're doing it every day, that's really going to start to add up. And that's a book that I'm reading called The Compound Effect. And that's kind of what they're kind of alluding to. I haven't read it yet. But anyway, I'm Trent. I'm a realtor in the area. If you want to work with a bona fide realtor like me, then give me a call, shoot me an email, send me a DM. I'll post my numbers and everything in there. Otherwise, have a great day.